Hey guys, it's Mr. Sarley. Welcome to part B of your YouTube homework review. I'm coming at you from the auditorium during lunch detention, and fortunately I got Mr. Rivera, who's making sure that no one's talking, otherwise this would be very loud, but I don't want to be disrespectful, and that's why I'm kind of quiet. But anyway, part B of our packet on multiplying decimals is focusing on multiplying by tens and by hundreds, and the cool thing about multiplying decimals by tens or hundreds is it actually just moves the decimal place over. And that makes doing these problems incredibly quick and easy. So, for example, if I have 5/10 times 10, you could do it this way. Right? You line things up to the right. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. Then you have one number after the decimal place, so you just need to move it over, and you get 5.0. But once you do that, hopefully you notice a pattern. When we multiplied it by 10, the only thing that really happened was this decimal place moved over. Another way to think about it, instead of the decimal moving, is to think the 5 was in the tenths place, right? But when we multiplied it by 10, it moved the 5, so now it's in the ones place. And that is a shortcut when you're multiplying by 10. It moves the place value up a place value. So to try this somewhere else, let's say you have this. You have 4 hundredths times 10. Right now, the 4 is in the hundredths place. When you multiply 4 hundredths by 10, it's just going to move the 4, so now it's in the tenths place. So this would become 4 tenths. And we didn't actually even have to do any of this. You still can if you're confused and you want to be sure. But this is going to be our answer. So over here we have 10 times 3 tenths. And again, what's going to happen when you multiply by 10 is this 3 that's in the tenths place is going to move over to the ones place. So the answer would be 3.0. And then for D, we have 10 times 5 hundredths. The 5 is going to move from the hundredths place over to the tenths place, and the answer would be 5 tenths. Each of these problems you can kind of check the answer by doing it in fraction form. So 10 times 5 hundredths would look like this. When you multiply that out, you would get 50 hundredths. And that's the same as this, which is equivalent to 5 tenths. And for each of these problems, if that helps you do the problem, that's another way that you can kind of see what the shortcut is. Okay, so a little bit trickier now. We're still multiplying by 10, but let's see what happens. So if you have 45 hundredths and you multiply it by 10, all that's going to happen is both of these numbers are going to shift over a place value. So the 4 is going to move over into the ones place, and the 5 is going to move over into the tenths place. And that's it. So for F, we have 2 and 4 tenths, and you multiply it by 10. So all that's going to happen now is the 2 is going to go over into the tenths place, and the 4 is going to go over into the ones place. So we end up with 24. Ten times 24 hundredths. Again, the 2 is going to move over into the ones place, and the 4 is going to move over into the tenths place. And then with H, we have 10 times 3 and 6 tenths. So the 3 is going to move over into the tens place, and the 6 is going to move over into the ones place. As I'm making this video and running around the school trying to find a quiet place, I thought of another way to help you. So just to see how the place value is shifting, say you start off with 0 and 45 hundredths. When you multiply it by 10, all that happens is the place value, every number goes up a place value. So you end up with 0, 4, 5, and that's why this answer is 4.5. Or if you start off with this one, 2.4, 2 and 4 tenths, multiply it by 10 shifts the place value over, and you end up with 24. For this one, if you start off with 0 and 24 hundredths and multiply it by 10, the place value shifts over one each, so the 2 goes into the ones place and the 4 goes into the tenths place. And then, with this one, we have 3 and 6 tenths, multiply it by 10, 3 goes over to the tens place and the 6 goes over to the ones place, and you end up with 36. Using the internet, getting fancy here. So now we have 3 tenths times 100. So I'm going to put that into this place value chart. So we have 0 and then 3 in the tens place. Multiplying by 100 is the same as multiplying by 10 twice. So basically, that's going to take this place value and shift it over 2 times. So the 3 isn't just going to go over to the ones place, it's actually going to go all the way over to the tens place. So we end up with this. 3 in the tens place, that would mean there has to be a 0 in the ones place. So this would end up equaling 30. It's a little bit easier to see it with k. So with k, we have 0, 0, and then a 4 in the hundredths place. We're multiplying it by 100, so that means that that 4 is going to move over 1, 2 spots, and it's going to be in the ones place. So that's just equal to 4. Ten times 4 tenths is a little bit easier. So the 4 is in the tens place. Since we're only multiplying it by 10, it's only going to move over one place value, and you're going to end up with 4, 4.0, however you want to write it. And then for L, we have 0 and 0 hundredths. You're multiplying it by 10, so that's going to shift over one place value, and you end up with 1/10. Alright, hopefully you're getting really quick with these. So now we have 34 hundredths, and we're multiplying it by 100. So that means the 3 is going to jump all the way over to the tens place, and the 4 is going to jump all the way to the ones place. We're moving over 2 place values. So that makes this 34. For N, we're going to run out of spots for this one, but we have 3 and 5 tenths. Oh, no, we won't. Never mind. We're multiplying it by 100, so that means it's going to move over 2 place values, and you're going to end up with a 3 over here, a 5 over here. Why are children so loud? And this is going to be 350. For this next one, we have 34 hundredths. We're multiplying it by 10, so the place values are going to shift over just 1 each, so 3 and 4 tenths. And for this last one, we're multiplying by 1,000. So we're going to do a 3 in the hundredths place. But now that 3 is going to move over 1, 2, 3 spots, and you're going to get a 3 in the tens place. So we end up with 30. Alright, we're calling this one place value magic. Because multiplying by tens, hundreds, and 1,000s That is some mathematical magic, and I'm being really corny. I apologize. Next video, keep it going.